All right, so I was sent this 6-in-1 power station to test it out and give my honest opinion on this product. So let's take it out of the box, check it all out, put it to use, see how well it does. So out of the box, you get the main power bank, you get a DC 12 volt charger, you get a 120 volt AC charger, you get some air compressor adapters so that you can do sport balls or maybe floats, things like that, different kinds of valves. Of course, you get the owner's manual and you get this nice AC/DC bag, not to be confused with the band, but this is where you're gonna store these accessory pieces that it comes with for the power bank. Now, the power station itself, if you look on the sides, it's got a red cable here. Of course, this is the positive lead for your battery to jump start it. You've got the negative lead on this side. On the front of this, so here you've got a pressure gauge. This shows you the pressure of air coming out of the air compressor. This over here is a meter for the battery that's in there. And to see that, you can go here and then you can just push this battery status button and it's gonna show you the status of the battery. Then you've got a work light here. You've got the charging port here, two 12 volt accessory ports, and then the switches. So here's the switch for the air compressor. And then here's the switch for the work light. So that's very cool here. On the back, you have the air compressor hose here, which comes out, and this is how you would air up your tires. Then you've also got two 120 volt power outlets. They combined 400 watts of power. So you can do up to 400 watts for both of these together. They have little protection plugs that go over those. There is a fuse, a USB port here that provides up to 2.1 amps of power. And then here is your switch that allows you to use the inverter. And that's the basic overview of this power station. Let's go ahead and try this thing out. So to do some testing with this power station, I'm actually outside with our SUV, and I was going to show you how you would go about jumping your vehicle if you had a low battery. One thing to note on these tools is these are not meant to replace a battery. If you have a battery that is completely dead, no voltage at all coming from that battery, and it doesn't take a charge, you're going to have a really hard time getting that car cranked off of any kind of jump starter system. Now, most of the time, that's not the situation. You're typically dealing with a low battery. So what you do in that case is you would take the red positive end, which again, these are on the ends of the power station. So you would take the red one, you'd put it on the red terminal on your vehicle, which would be positive. You would take the black one and put it on the negative terminal of the vehicle. If you put the positive to positive and the negative to negative, you're going to get a green light right there on top in that LED. If you actually have them switched backwards, you'll get a sound. So let me show you what that's like. So I'm going to take off the negative. I'm going to put the positive on the negative and the negative on the positive. It's telling you, wait a minute, that's not right. So it's got that feature in it to tell you you've got these hooked up incorrectly, stop what you're doing and hook it up correctly. So this would be how you would jump the vehicle to get it cranked if you have a low battery. So for the jumper to actually work, you would need to come back here in the back and turn on this safety switch. So right now the jumper is turned off. You would flip it this way to turn it on. And now it's actually providing power to your battery. And this would push power from the battery inside of this jumper station into your battery on your vehicle. That should give you enough extra power to go over and crank your car. So when you're done with that, you would turn this off and then you would come unhook the jumper cables. So you take the negative off, you take the positive off, and then you rewind them back into the storage areas on the side of this power station. So I'm going to do that and we're going to test out some more of this. So now I'm down here by the tire to test out the compressor that's on here. So the first thing you'll want to do is go into the back of this. And if you open up this little compartment back here, that's where the air compressor hose is. And I have run that up to the valve stem on this SUV. So then the controls for the compressor are actually on the front of the unit. And you have the on and off switch here for the compressor. And then you also have the gauge that tells you what your current readings are. So right now this is reading about 32 PSI for the tire. So I would just go over here and turn this on. And now I would unhook the hose from the tire, and then I'd put it right back into the storage compartment. So the compressor does seem to work fine and actually works relatively quick. All right, so we went through testing out the compressor. We hooked up the jumper on this. The one thing that we have not tested is the inverter portion of this. So on the back of this, we have a USB port to do USB charging straight off the back of this device. And then we have a 120 outlet inverter back here on the back, so you can use these ports that way also. So to use those, you have to push up is for the USB port to charge, and then down is to turn on the 120 volt inverter on the bottom, which then kicks on also the fan because these inverters can get hot and lets you charge that way. So we're going to go ahead and test this USB port by pushing it up. And then I've got a set of earbuds here that have not been charged in a while, and we're going to plug that in. And then if you see here, they are charging. So the USB port portion works, no problem. If I put that back in the middle, that's going to turn this off. It's no longer blinking, so it's not charging anymore. All right. So now to test the inverter portion for 120, I'm going to get this wall brick here that we've had from an old phone or something. I'm going to plug this in. So if you'll notice here, it's not charging, but if I turn it on, there it goes. It's recognized power and it's telling you that it is charging. Now the fan down here is running because this is 120 volts and the inverter that's inside of here could probably get pretty hot, and that's typical of an inverter from 12 volts to 120 volts. But yeah, I think this thing is great. It's a very useful tool to have around. It's definitely something that I'm going to have with me when I hit the road. Everything seems to test out fine on it. Seems to do exactly what it says it's going to do. Very handy tool that you could keep in your vehicle. I like it a lot. So I hope this review was helpful. If it was, please give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, if you would do that, that really helps us out. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Y'all take care.